Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are now back with Mary Jane Pullam and, of course, a whole panel of her friends and clients. Excited to have her here. We're talking about Myofascial Wellness by Jane. That's her company. And she's from Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, just north of Philadelphia. But boy, oh boy, her technique, her skills, her knowledge of, myofascial release. And some of you may be even saying, what is that? We're going to go over it today. But I can tell you it works wonders. I've talked to plenty of her clients. And today, live here on the show, we have quite a few with us. So Jane, I'll have you say hello, introduce yourself, and of course, our lovely panel as well.
This is awesome. Thank you so much, Jill. So I'm like a myofascial geek.
Yeah.
What is it? So there's this guy named John Barnes. He came from the Philadelphia area. He had an injury. He was a physical therapist from the University of Pennsylvania, and he could not find anything to give him relief, even though he was employing people using the latest techniques and, the best people he could employ. So he, by nature of desperation, discovered that there's this fascial system. And what is it? Think of a spider web that is also the internet of your body. It connects messages into and out of every single cell, and it's connecting everything together so that my ear is very much connected to my little toe on my left foot. And we know that, but we don't realize to what extent. So the purpose of this has many purposes. Our container, when there's an incoming force into our body, it acts as a solid and prevents us from changing shape, but there's a price to pay for that. Mm-hmm. It begins to shut down. And when it shuts down, it can create a force of like 2,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. So there's nothing that can stand up to that. There's no joint, no knee joint or wrist joint. There's no disc that will last up to that. So most problems with joints start off as problems in the fascia, but there's no way to tell. So I had a client yesterday. She said she went for an MRI. She's in pain pretty much from head to toe, low back, neck, and her MRIs came out perfect. So she's like, now what? I'm in pain. So on one hand, I'm relieved, but then what is this?
Still obviously very concerned. Yeah. Right. And by the way, I just want to say hello, Beth. I know you just sent me a personal chat. I see you. You're here. You have another Beth in the waiting room. Do you want me to admit that one in too? Because
that's me.
Okay, you're here. Okay, so I don't need to admit you again.
No, please do. I'm trying to get in through my computer.
You got it. I'm sorry. There you go.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead. Continue, Jane.
Goodness. So what was I saying?
So it's like a miracle. Well, to the point where nothing's wrong with the MRI, but wait, I'm still in pain. So something's got to be wrong. And I'm assuming it's something with the fascia.
Right. And that's why people end up pretty much as a last resort. Sometimes they've tried surgery. Sometimes they've tried, and physical therapy is great, not knocking it. They've tried all these modalities, but no one has ever taken the time just to gently sink into the fascia. I'm going to reference that video I played last time, Jill.
Yes, please.
Which is, if you're not familiar with it, you may have done it as a child. It's cornstarch mixed with water. And it actually has non-Newtonian properties, so that if you were to go into this substance gently, you can sink your hand into it and it acts as a liquid. If you were to hit it with a hammer, your hammer would bounce off of it. It acts as a solid. This is what your fascia does.
Yeah.
If it's been hit enough times, it's now locked down and you can't move and you're in pain. So now I'm going to introduce these wonderful clients of mine. I'm going to start with Melissa Ellen and give them a little shout out. So Melissa is a vocalist from Atlanta, and she has her own original music, and she probably has the most beautiful voice I've ever heard. And that's not just because she's my friend. I'm actually going to cry.
Aww.
Anyway, it's not about her. So she goes so far beyond voice. She teaches you how to have a voice, to be in your own skin, and how to have a powerful voice and express it. And that goes so far beyond even vocals. So I'm sorry, let me gather myself again. And Karin Suttmann of JL Media. She is a secret weapon of any marketing department. So her thing is numbers crunching. She is a market researcher, and she will be the one who tells you, no, that's not what you need to do. That's not the ad you need to do. My numbers tell me otherwise, and this is what you need to do. So brilliant. And Beth Mihalovich is with long-term care insurance planning. And I have to say, for this type of thing, it's such a sensitive thing, long-term planning for our health. Beth is both brilliant and compassionate, which is both are like so necessary for this. Like, I don't want to be discussing that with someone who's just brilliant. I want someone who is compassionate too. And Melissa, I see you wiping your eye. You better stop that.
Aw.
So, any one of you, what I'm interested in, and what I would have been more interested in back if I needed help, was less what I have to say and more people's experience who had it done. That's what would interest me. So if anyone wants to jump in and talk about what they thought it was before they got myofascial release, they didn't know what it was, what they experienced during the session, what they experienced after, whatever you want to share. Whoever wants to go first.
I can go. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Yeah, good.
Well, I had the pleasure of meeting Jane at a networking event, and when she is talking about the type of massage that she does, it's very different than a traditional massage, because it is, I know the term has release in it, but it really does feel like your body is letting go, and it was just amazing. It was better than any massage that you would get at like a regular, Hand and Stone or something like that, like one of the big box stores of massages. Because it was actually, I felt like my body was releasing stuff, and I could feel it, like kind of felt like my skin was moving. I don't know how else to explain it, but it was amazingly relaxing and just so nice. It was nice.
That's awesome. Remind me what you came in with, or talk about that if you don't mind.
Please. Thank you.
I have a herniated disc in my back. So I was feeling some pain with my sciatica nerve going down my leg. And it's just a constant thing that I always have to be taking care of. And when you hit that one spot, you held it for a while, and it was the most relief that I've had with it. So it was like magic.
It's amazing. That's awesome. Thank you. Anybody else can share whatever they like.
Oh, like me, you mean?
Like you.
Yes. Introduce yourself, please. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I'm Melissa Ellen. I'm the vocal coach. And actually, Jane, I was wiping my hair.
Well, that's what I say too.
Yeah. No, it's my sinuses. Anyway, so I appreciate that very much. Jane and I are very close. We've been close friends for a long time. So I appreciate that. Okay, so I have had, and I apologize by looking off. I have conveniently I had an appointment for someone to come work on the house, and they showed up now.
Right now,
of course. It always happens. That's okay.
It's like, they give you the 2 hour, 4 hour, 6 hour window, and I'm like, okay, the only time is between 10 and 10:30. So at 9:50, I'm like, okay, good. So sweet as can be and helping me, and I appreciate it. Okay, so thank you for bearing with me there. If anybody's on video, that I was turning away. Okay, so Jane is fabulous. I have actually been a client of Myofascial Release with different people because Jane's in Philadelphia, I'm in Atlanta. So, but she actually was my introduction to MFR, and I have had all kinds of joint and muscle pain and whatever, and I've had many massages by many different people over the years, you know, always kind of looking for new modalities and just trying to heal my life, heal my body, evolve as a person. Okay. So that's where I'm coming from. And as a vocal coach, I do teach energetically, and I teach about being in your own skin, as Jane mentioned, and how important it is to be able to move your body and be able to breathe and be, you know, we all know singing is breathing, right?
Yeah.
But it's so much about being able to move on the inside and being able to understand your breath and feel your voice and not be locked up.
Yeah.
So anyway, so massage is great. However, once Jane worked on me and did a soft touch MFR, there was the knee pain that was the biggest cause of my pain for many, many years. She actually worked on me for 4 days in a row, and it was unbelievable. It's the least pain I've ever had with my knees. I mean, just made a huge difference. And so when she had to unfortunately return to Philadelphia, I sought out someone else here in Atlanta, and they do a great job. They're John Barnes person, MFR person, and I was working with them for a long time on a regular basis, and it's, again, extremely helpful. It makes such a difference. And for me, the focus is knees at my ripe old age. And even though it started when I was much younger, but so it helps tremendously. And it's the kind of thing where you can relax and not resist. Like, you know, when you're getting a massage, like, I really like when people like dig in, but then it's great, except that your body is resisting that, right? So I'm like, well, it feels great, but okay, thanks, see you tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, it's not actually, it's a relief, and it feels great and it works, but it's not actually dealing with the issue, which is my understanding, again, is the fascia, which is surrounding the muscle and keeping it tight, right? So yeah, and also for
and I'm sorry, and the joke is, forgive my French, but muscle is fascia's bitch. Everything is subject to what fascia will allow. So it's fascia that controls. So yeah, really good point.
Yeah, makes a great point. It also, as a singer, really helps me with my jaw and my neck. But you could be working on my knees and my calves, and my jaw will feel better. So because she was saying, again, how everything is so connected, it's all tied in. So it really, and the other thing I like about it, I really appreciate a gentle approach. I've done, again, several different healing modalities over the years, including different kinds of massage, and also Rolfing, which is like a structural integration thing. And that can be painful, or, you know, it just, and one of the points I really wanted to make is that although I've been working with this woman for 1.5 years and it's amazing, Jane is way better. Just because of her approach, possibly because we have a connection, but understanding that the issue was my knees, Jane worked on everything, including my knees, and especially not just. And so the person that I work with usually just goes directly to the issue. So we're dealing with knees, sometimes calves, sometimes it's piriformis, or what's the other one? Psoas. So like, there's other areas, but I never get like the whole body kind of thing. And I really think that makes a difference. And plus Jane has this very gentle, beautiful, calming voice that she, which is really awesome.
Yeah,
so,
she does.
Yeah, so I appreciate that too. I'm usually, and the other girls like from Chicago, so we're always there, yeah, and then this. No, anyway, I'm getting way off topic. So she's funny. We yell at each other the whole time. But yeah, so I think Jane's approach is really important too. Jane specifically is an excellent practitioner, MFR, and I like I said, I appreciate the technique, but the actual myofascial release itself is just a godsend, really. I mean, when I don't do it for a few weeks, I wish I could do it like 3 days a week or every day. It would be great, but once a week was excellent. And like I said, when when I worked the first time with Jane, she did like 3-4 days in a row, and it was unbelievable. So
Oh.
it really
Got you ahead of it.
Yeah, it got me started to healing. It's like, oh, okay, I can actually
Mhm.
move now. Yeah, I used to be on crutches.
Oh,
I used to actually
wow.
be on crutches, and it got really bad where I was like, I have small, short staircases because it's a split level. So there's 3 levels, and I would sometimes have to crawl up and down
Oh my God.
because yeah, it got to that point. So
I remember when you stood up and you were like bouncing on your knee and you're like, oh my
it's
God, my knee
moving.
support me. I can move
Yeah.
it. And the whole thing I remember you saying is I can't even get to the point where I can strengthen it if I can't stand on it. I mean,
Right.
like,
Yes.
how am I going to do all these things?
Wow.
Yeah. So, and how many years ago was that?
I don't know. Couple, 4?
Yeah,
4?
I think
Was it
so.
like 4 years?
About 4 years. It was pre-pandemic, so that's been almost 3 years
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was. Well, my mom was still here.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
So yeah, 2000 probably 19 or 18. So that started.
Wow.
Yeah, if that's the testimony right there.
Cool.
Wow.
Thank you so
Got me
much,
going.
Melissa.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And Karen.
That's a well, I don't after meeting Jane, I used to lump all this stuff into massage therapy. Yeah, okay, that's another. Okay, put the stone on there. All right, use the deep one there. All right, do this. Yeah, no, really soft there, whatever. And then I met Jane, and she's like, okay, well, muscles are, the witch. It's Halloween season still, so the muscles are the witch of the fascia, and didn't fully understand it, and I was amazed. So here's Jane, this gentle touch, a lot of listening, and I have to say, Jane, you were like almost meditating on and communicating with the fascia. So my story is, I love high heels, love them, love them. They don't love me, or they don't love my age, and I don't know why, because at 29. And anyway, so, but the pandemic
Yeah.
meant no shoes, no high heels, no walking. A lot of my work is up in Manhattan, up in New York City. No walking the sidewalk in the high heels. You just didn't do it. So, when I tried to put them back on again after 2 years, I was like, what is going on? And my back, I happen to have arthritis
Mhm.
back there. And so things were just getting all smushed up. And I was like, well, yeah, I met Jane. I'm like, I'm gonna give it a try. And David Kale, who I believe you all have met in another podcast, said to me, Karen, he goes, there's stuff smushed up in your fascia from, like I said, what, from 1962? He's like, yes. Well, doesn't Jane say, and I joke around a lot about
Wow.
this. Yeah, that happened in 73. That's what that's from. A scar on your body fades away. The fascia just says, yep, I'm going to get tougher. I'm going to get tougher. I'm going to get tougher. It
Mhm.
amazed me how Jane could grab a hold of my wrist and understand that whatever the communication channel is between my wrist and between my hip joint, that was going to work. I remember laying there going, okay, like it's my lower
Like,
back, not my. And she's like,
it's like,
no problem,
no.
no problem, no problem. And then darn it, so I go walking out of there and come back for my next appointment. Unbeknownst to me, I put on some kitten heels, 1.5 inches around there. And I'm walking up there and down or whatever. Didn't realize that, like, I wasn't walking up and down the steps in heels the
Ah.
first time. By the third time, I think I was wearing boots. Yeah, I think I was wearing 2-inch boots and navigating the stairs and going through this. And she says, well, what do you think? I said, I think I'm wearing shoes again. And it was amazing to me. And so, what, Jane, what you were saying about the fascia being, combative, versus a gentle approach, which
Yeah.
is, I get it. I get it. So
Yeah.
I think that conclusion, I think that when people think that myofascial is just another part of the menu of the massage therapy place, I don't believe that's the case. I believe it's a whole new medical practice that is unfairly, perhaps, put into the massage therapy thing. Because, I go for a massage because I want to escape for a little while. I
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
my face because it's really gonna work, you know?
Mm.
So that's what I get. That's what I have to say. My testimony, I'm sticking to it.
Thank you, Karen. That
Great.
was actually very succinct and very helpful. You know what I was thinking? Does anyone else have anything else to share that they wanted to talk about, since this is a myofascial release
Can I
panel?
just say one thing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like kind of part of the clan here. But
Oh, of course you are.
recently, I don't know if I told you this, Jane, because we always,
Yeah.
it's your show. We don't have much time. But
Yeah.
I've been having severe back pain since August 6th, where I took my kids to Sesame Place and I couldn't even sleep before we even did the rides. So there's something going on here, and I let it go, right? We all let it go sometimes, thinking it's going to get better. I can't sleep now at night. And 2 weeks ago, I realized I can't breathe at night because the pain, it's full. It's just so. I actually last week went to an orthopedic surgeon, got an X-ray. He says I have arthritis in my neck because did have a car accident 20 years ago, but something's going on here, he said. So I did an MRI last week. I had to do another MRI this week. I'm waiting for the report next week, so I'll have an update. And I started physical therapy. I've gone only 3 times, but and they're working on it. But listening to all of you, like what MRI could come back saying it's fine. Hey, there's another issue there. It's just, so I'm really like enjoying this because I don't know what the MRI results are going to say. If, hopefully it's okay, but hence now I live in New York out of Long Island. So I need to maybe find someone to help me benefit. And she's going to say, I know someone. Right.
I was going to say for that, and most people probably listening are not from the Philadelphia area. So you can go to myofascialrelease.com and find a therapist really close to you.
Perfect.
And that actually brings up, Jill, another point. People whose MRIs do come back with herniated discs or, issues going on, arthritis and so forth, or decreased disc space, can still benefit from this.
Okay, good. Well, I will let you know. I'm next Tuesday morning. So he rescheduled. It was supposed to be yesterday. I'll have some results if you don't mind. I could discuss it with you in our next show too. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Thank you.
Might I add that your doctor will, oh, look, there's all these problems and the MRI is showing all these problems. Okay, sorry. See you later. I mean, what's he going to do? He's going to tell you what's going on, whether there's nothing to see or there's
what I didn't like, I'm not a doctor, but the fact that I'm in so much pain and this all went down, we did the X-ray, the first MRI. He's like, all right, you could start PT. Start now. And I'm like, well, shouldn't we not touch it until we know what it is? God forbid it's, God forbid it's a mass and there was something real like, no, because the PT place is in his office. Let's make more money. So walk to the other side, start PT. I'm like, but I don't know if that's a good idea. And then like, oh, of course. So I did start, but it's like, I feel painful knowing people are touching things that I don't even know what's under there. They don't know what's under there. I just don't think that was good advice on the doctor's behalf, to be honest with you.
There's a formula they use and it's PT, then MRI. But I was going to say.
Okay.
But most doctors in this day and age, what they learned on was a cadaver, and that system is not a live system, right? So literally they were taught to take the fascia and throw it in the trash can because it had no purpose.
Got it.
So that's where they're coming from, and most of them don't know that this technique exists. Otherwise they'd be referring, and the ones that do know do refer out to myofascial release. But all right, to quote a client of mine, I think this is really important. He said, don't you owe it to your body that if there is a less invasive way of fixing this, don't you owe it to your body to check it out, try it? I know what's the worst can happen. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing. And and maybe we can keep in touch outside of here.
Sure.
And I will refer you to someone.
Thank you. I
In
appreciate
New
it.
York. Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
I don't know how we're doing on time.
Five more minutes. Go for it.
5 more minutes. All right. So we're just going to,
just from that same perspective, when you went back to Philly initially, and I was going to work with somebody here in Atlanta, you were specific about looking up somebody under the John Barnes thing.
right. Thank you. Yes. Someone who's John Barnes trained.
Okay.
Yeah. And then and you would go to myofascialrelease.com and then you'd find a John Barnes. There was good, really good point. Very, very good point. Okay. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. Give me 1 second. And
Sure.
I'm going to go. You can never find the little podium. Let me make sure y'all can hear this. Here's some. And there we go. All right. So recently they discovered a new organ. And we all kind of laughed because that organ was fascia.
Yeah.
And here they're going to talk about it. Let me go ahead. Hi.
What happened to modern-day mankind? We've made great progress on so many fronts, but some of the greatest mysteries remain.
In your first year of medical school, you get a cadaver and they cut it up. The fascia you can throw in the garbage can. So it's almost like we're trained to not pay attention to it.
In the past, the human body was cut in many different pieces. And in such a way, we lost the global view of the body.
It's now one of the most exciting fields of science.
It's all the same human body, and we just have different perspectives on it.
It's completely new. It's a paradigm shift.
Just another piece of the puzzle to help us see the human body as a whole.
This tension can be migrating into your fascial network and will basically lead to secondary symptoms.
Maybe this is where fascia research can help us see all of mankind's needs.
It's a miracle.
And you're not the actor.
No, I'm not an actor at all.
It's no wonder that more and more people are becoming fascinated by the fascia.
Oh my God, what's happening? Because there was running water from his eyes.
Why are you crying? She asked. I said, my pain is gone.
And we are definitely heading along the right track.
We can avoid the aging, we can avoid the degeneration of the joint, we can avoid many different pathologies in the organ, in the muscle, in the joints, and consequently it means that we can become older in a better way.
And I love this. The network of the body without beginning or end.
Wow.
So I want to thank everybody who came on. Beautiful for sharing your story. And I so appreciate it.
Me too. Thank you guys so much. And really, we appreciate what you're doing, Jane. Remind our audience today how we can reach you, please. Thank you.
This is a part, ironically, I always stumble over.
Aw, no.
You can Google Wellness by Jane in the Philadelphia area in Jenkintown. My website is Myofascial Wellness by Jane. .com. My phone number is 843-814-8642. And email is probably the least favorite, but marythejane2010 @gmail.com.
Can you please spell myofascial for those?
Absolutely. MYOFASCIAL.
Beautiful.
Myofascial.
Thank you guys so much. Really, we appreciate your time here today. Have a fantastic day and a great week and enjoy the weekend. Thank you, Mary Jane. We'll talk soon next week and I'll bring my results. Hopefully I'll have them.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.